Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back as always. Huge massive thank you for all the support I get from you guys. I really do appreciate it. So I'm coming back to these Moonlight Fairies today. So this is what I've got left after I did the video last time. So I've got two pieces of the beautiful cardstock, one of which has got the black foil on. I've got one topper left, a couple of sentiments, and a border and a frame that I didn't use last time. So we are going to see what we can do with these today. So I'm planning on starting with this one here, this big green piece. And I've made a card that is 6 by 8. It's a 10th fold card. So we'll stand like so. It's 6 across the top, 8 on the length. So if you haven't got this kind of card base, it is 16 inches across, scored at 8, and then trimmed to 6 inches. And you will get 2 out of an A3 sheet if you're lucky enough to have access to that size card. So let's bring in the trimmer. And I'm going to be using some more of this black glitter today. This is the Diamond Sparkles. So I know my card is 6 by 8, so I'm going to bring this in at 2 notches under the 6. Let's put that there because I might need that next time. And then 2 notches, just do that side, that's a bit straighter that side. 2 notches under the 8. Then you've got a nice little border there. And then from this piece here, from this side, so I'm going to be cutting from there, so I'm going to go 4 notches under the 6. Oops. And from that side, 4 notches under the 8. So that should fit quite nicely onto there. Difficult to see at the bottom because you've got the black, and then that should go onto there quite nicely as well. Let's just turn it that way. Yeah, got a nice fine border there, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit unusual to what I normally do on a hunky dory video that I do, in that I'm going to use some hunky dory dies. Now the reason I don't usually use dies on the videos I do is because I know a lot of you don't die cut. You love the hunky dory because it's there, it's all in one, you pick it up, you can play with it, pop it down, and you're good to go. So I do sort of deliberately, when I plan my videos, I do tend to stick to what's either in the kit or what's easily available from hunky dory, and I do tend to stay away from the dies. But I thought, I had an idea with this one and I think it's going to look really nice. So I don't have many dies from hunky dory either, but I do have these church window ones. So I'm going to take the largest one, let's put a little bit of tape, and I want this to go sort of in this corner, but as much of that fairy as I can get in. So I do want her little hand. I'm not worrying about her foot here because I think it's just going to look like another plant. So we're just going to try and get that nice and straight. And I'm hoping this tape is not going to mark anything because I need both sides of this paper. Okay, so I'm going to have to bring in my big plates for this. So I'm going to pop that onto there. Actually, I'm going to pop another little bit of tape on. Down in this corner here. I just really don't want that to move. I'm going to reduce some of that down as well. I'm hoping if we do get a mark, maybe we can hide it. Okay, so I'm making sure I've got no bits there because I don't want anything to mark this card if I can help it. So I'm using my original sandwich, the proper sandwich for my Gemini 2. that's just going to go through. Me when it makes those cracking noises. Right, let's turn that off because hopefully that should be all we need. So let's pop that out of the way, bring that out. My outside frame looks lovely, so let's see how this looks. Let's pop this off. I've got a little bit of a line there, but not as bad as I thought. Excuse me, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I really don't think that's going to be noticeable by the time I put this together. Okay, so let's start to assemble to a certain point. So I'm going to pop the black onto my cardstock first of all. So I'm going to be using my Flower All-Purpose Glue. Just as always, being super careful not to get it to spill out the edges because it will take the finish off my card. I'm going to use some tacky glue in the corners because I want this to be quite secure quite quickly, and it just gives me a little bit less wiggle room time, so I don't want this moving about once I've started to assemble. Okay, and then this piece here, I'm going to raise it up, and I've got some of this, this is Crafter's Companion tape. I'm just going to take that bit off because it's been stuck up and it feels like it's got no glue on it. So if you've got any of the Hunky Dory strips, got my scissors, that would be perfect for this. If you also wanted to pop some acetate on there, maybe some little butterfly sparkles, that would be perfect on here. And what I'm doing is I'm just giving this lots of support, just in case one day it has to go through the post. And I'd say this is probably quite a deep one. It's probably about 4mm deep. But it's not very wide, so it's quite nice and thin. Probably about 1/2 centimetre, I'd say. Now, I'm thinking that's probably going to be a little bit too wide for there. So I'm going to take a piece, I'll put that back. And if I grab hold of the end of it, hopefully I should be able to just snip that down the middle. Or not. No, that's not worked. I've got some stuff to get rid of that, so that's not a problem. Okay. So what I will do is I'm going to bring in a piece from here, which is just a little bit of I've just got one foam pad left on it, so it's just the backing tape. So if I stick that to there, then it's not going to stick to my hands. This is what I should have done in the first place. I was hoping it would work with the scissors. So I'm just going to use my knife just to cut that down. Probably don't need that. Let's just cut it in half. And this is just purely so I've got them all at the same depth. Apologies if you can hear the child screaming outside. It's the neighbour. Right, okay. So that's just gone over a little bit. Okay. Okay, so apologies, she did have a little tantrum for quite a while. So we're just going to pull this racking off. And we will stick that onto our card blank. So basically what we're doing is we're sort of making a feature out of the sort of foiled part of this card, and still using it, so not wasting anything on this sheet really. That's my ambition. So again, a little bit of tacky glue just on these foam pads, which is going to give me a little bit of wiggle room time, and it's also going to give an extra bit of stick. So we're going to bring that in. I'm going to eyeball that up. That should be, yeah, we're about there. That's there. And then this piece is going to go back in. So you will get that little hint of that black around it from the actual backing. So because we haven't cut any of that away, that diamond sparkles inside, it's going to give us that bit of shine through when you look at it from an angle, even though this is exactly the same shape. If you wanted to go a size smaller, obviously you can do. What I would say is, if you do go, it's worth obviously cutting this big one, because at the moment, see where her foot is, it actually just looks like another plant there. It doesn't really look like a foot, but if you go smaller, then it might be more obvious that there's a leg. If you just cut this bit, so let's say you've cut this size, the big one, and then go in with the next size down and cut that down again, then just be you know, line it up how you want to so that you get the best position out of it. I probably would try and keep her hand in and the butterfly, and cut off more of the leg if it was me, but obviously that is your judgment call to sort of make. But that's where we've got to so far. So let me just pop these dies out of the way for a second. Did drop one on the floor. Oops. Apologies. Okay, so now we can bring in our topper sheet. So my plan was to use this one, which was the Open the Door to a World of Magic and Adventure, because I think that will sit in there quite nicely. And I wasn't sure whether I was going to use this border or not, because obviously ideally I want to use as much of the pieces up as I can. It does make me feel quite good when every bit of that page is used. So I'm just going along there because it was stuck in. So let's have a little play. So we could go across there like so. Bring that in. Then a couple of gems maybe. Yeah, I think that will work. So that's what we'll do. So if I can bring out my trimmer, I'm gonna neaten that up. And we know it's 6 minus 4 notches on that top piece, so just to match the size of that green, like so. I'm thinking I am going to go, am I going to go a little further down? Even, no, we're not going to do that. Right, so we're going to stay at the top just to break that big space up. And then I think I will have that raised just slightly over it. A little to the left maybe. And then a couple of gems. Okay, so I am going to go flat with this. I think I'll just use tacky glue just for a nice quick stick. And we're going right at the top. Giving that a good press down. Let's bring in my, let's see if we can make sure that stays pretty straight. Okay. And then this one I'm going to raise it up. So I don't think I want to go too high though. So let's bring in these smaller 1mm hunky dory pads. So we're just going to, because we've already got quite a lot of height, even though there's no decoupage or anything like that. Just pop it through. And there, let's see that. Just one at the top, I think that should be. Feels good. I'm not sure if there's a little book with the Moonlight Fairies. I know there are different sort of silhouetted fairies. You may have a book that's similar. So if you didn't want to use this particular lying down fairy, you could possibly go in with your little book and then use the cut out bit for another card. It's yeah, depends on what you've got to hand. And if you haven't got a die, you could always just use a circle cutter, do a circle, or if you've got a shaped template. It used to be, before I had the cutters and thing, you used to be able to get sort of templates that you cut around. So I don't know if those are still widely available, but you definitely could use them to cut that aperture out. Doesn't have to be a churchy one. Just, well, I've only got a couple of them, and I knew where that one was. It sort of just appealed to me, you know, the church and nature sort of thing. Okay, so there we have that. So the next thing, to get some ready, these black gems that I found the other day. So I'm going to pop one up there and two here. I'll have to use our little tweezers, and I think I'll go with a medium one. Come on. And another medium, and then a small. Come on. Doesn't want to leave me. And then I'm also just going to put in here, have I got three little ones I have? Just going to follow that direction around with these three. There. I think that should be around about right. And then lastly, just to finish, using that same die that I used last time, which is this Crafter's Companion one. Really, like I said, Hunky Dory do one. I did put the link on my last video, but you could cut this or that one into this as well if you're die cutting, and have that black butterfly showing through. That would add to this, but I've just used it just to get a couple of little butterflies. I think maybe 3 would be fine. And the Hunky Dory one, the butterflies are slightly different. I don't think there's quite as many as the Crafter's Companion one, but like I said last time, I don't know if that one is still available. I know they did put them on sale a few times, so it could be that those are all gone now, but it is the Dancing Butterfly one. So what I want to do is just follow the trail of this one up. So I'm going to put one there, and one there. So I think the biggest one I'm going to put there. And then this little one here, we'll have him going off that way. And then that one going like so. Okay, so that is that one finished. don't know why I'm putting that on there. If you wanted to add extra, I'm not doing it today, but you could go in with all these sparkles with glitter or glitter pens, something like that. You could even use a clear sparkle overlay to go over these wings so that there is that glittery, shiny sort of finish to them. But like I say, I'm not going to do that today. That for me is a nice card out of just one piece of card, basically in a topper. So I like that one. So I'm going to pop that one to the side, and I'm just going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, for the second card then, so my normal 6 by 12, and if I bring in my scoreboard, we'll just score that down at 6 inches to make ourselves a nice little tent card. So this one is going to be a little more ordinary. Okay, so there's our card base. So I wanted to do something a little different than the black again. I know there is a lot of black on this kit. So I went through my stash of adorable scoreable and I found this one, and it's kind of quite a good close match to the greens in here, so that's why I decided to go with that. So this is going to be the mat that goes 2 notches under the 6, so it's going to be our base mat. And obviously this is adorable scoreable, great stuff. If you wanted to cut the middle out of that, either with a die cut or whatever, to sort of keep as much of that as you can, then fair enough. I'm not going to today, but a lot of people do that. So for this one, because this fairy is reading, although she is by a lake there in the daytime, I kind of thought I would have her more at night time. So I'm rotating it this way. So it looks like we've sort of got a tree or a bush here coming against the moon. And we've got 2 of the butterflies that are flying upside down, but we've got one going the right way. So obviously they do fly both ways, those butterflies. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 notches under the 6. And the same that way. And that should fit rather nicely onto our mat there. Okay, you can see that sort of picks up those green tones in it. Obviously, that's a nice piece of card in itself. Nice little sentiment or something. You could definitely do something with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop this onto our card base. So I haven't sort of decided on how I want the topper to go on top. Sometimes I visualize the card itself, and then the sort of finer details on the top, if you like, I leave to the last minute. So again, with my all-purpose glue, just popping that on, so we've got a nice white border all the way around. Slightly wider on this side for some reason. Just check. Oh, there's my little straight ruler. Yeah, so it's a little bit wider. So what I can do is just trim that off with a big trimmer afterwards. So for some reason my card isn't straight, so that would have been when it was cut and packaged, when the card stopped. So it's no problem, we're just neaten it up afterwards. So then this piece is going to go onto the center there. Give it a good press down just to make sure that that glue really does stick. And then so we've got, popping this out, we've got our little topper, we've got Get Lost in Your Imagination, which I thought was quite cute since she's reading a book, but I've also got a Good Luck there. I don't think I'm going to be using that today, but I will pop it out just so I can get rid of that sheet afterwards. So let's pop these out and then we can see how we want that to go. So obviously we've got the moon there, which would be ideal if we can kind of keep that as much as possible. I'm just going to take this thinner layer out, and we can decide how we want this to go. Not sure if I like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a little fiddle with this, and then I'll decide which way we want that to go, so bear with me. Okay, so what I've decided is I'm going to have this one going across like so. I'm going to have this one raised up in the middle, and then this one going across at the bottom. Obviously some gems and things as well. So for this layer I think I'm going to go flat, so I'm trying to keep this just a little bit flatter. I think we'll have that set, the lighter bit is at the bottom, and then all I want to do is just pop that on as evenly as I can. And I'm just doing that by eye. Give that a little press down. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in these hunky dory pads. These probably about a 2mm, I would say, maybe 3. It's quite a chunky one, and it's a nice big square, so nice and easy, and a nice amount of support in one go. So that is good. Just give that a little press down. I might just take a little piece to the middle just to give that a bit of support in there as well. Yeah, that feels good. And as always, you know, like I said last time, with this cardstock, this you could turn all of these into little sparkles by using I need some tacky glue on there, by using your glitters, any sort of sprays you've got. You could always add a little bit of sparkle in if you wanted to. You don't have to, but it just adds into the whole card. And then this one again, I'm going to raise up to exactly the same height on here, I think. So I'll just use bits on there. Probably going to need something in the middle, so we'll just take a little chop out of there. Okay, that feels good. And this is coming together rather nicely. Now I did think with gems, I think I'm going to go with the clear ones on this. So let's just pop that down across there. We'll bring that in so we can try and get that one a little bit straight. And I hadn't thought about it. I thought, you know, this is supposed to be like a sunny sky, I think, because you've got the blue, but it actually quite fades into that moon quite well, you know, that sort of shape. But I hadn't planned that, but that's just caught my eye as I was looking through. Right, let's get some clear gems. And various different sizes in this pack. So we'll just sprinkle those out. I'll grab my picky up tool ready. Okay, so just had a moment there where I thought I might have put the card upside down, but we're okay. So I'm just going to start here, and I'm going to pop 3 in there, and I think I'll go with a medium, a smaller one, and a smaller one. And the glue behind these, it will dry clear, so it is a dries clear glue. And then here I'm going to go with 2 big ones. Actually, I'm going to go with a bigger one and a slightly smaller one, just to add that in. And the other thing, I thought I did have one, and there was another one. So 1, 2. Have I got any others? No, so I've just got 2, so that's fine. So I've got 2 of these little butterflies. So I'm going to put 1 right on this corner. So those, just to give that a good. And then I'm going to put 1 smaller one in there. So just use them up, and they do fit in with it because that's the sort of theme of this one. There we go, got him flying now. Okay, so I'm just trying to think, do I want to put some glitter on? Part of me does, part of me doesn't. I'm wondering whether to put some on those wings like I said before. Let's have a little look and see what that would look like. Now I'm going to have to be careful with this brush because I have been brushing it out a lot. Let's just pop that on. Just realised one of my lights have gone off. And it will take a while to dry because obviously this is not matte-tastic cardstock, but it should dry quite nicely. Just making sure, so it's difficult for me to see with all the lights on, but I'm just making sure I've got all of that. If you wanted to go extra, then obviously use the Quickie glue pen and use some sparkle glitter, and that would be more noticeable. But this, I don't know if you'll be able to catch it. It's just going to be a really, maybe you might catch it there. I'll have to have a look at the video afterwards, but when that dries, you're just going to get a subtle bit of glitter in the background. Okay, I'll just move those out of the way a second. So let's bring in that other card that I made today. So those are today's cards, both 10th folds, and really just, you know, if we've got 4 nice cards out of that kit. I've still got this big piece left. I've got this frame, and I've got another frame which I've misplaced for a second. If I wanted to, I could also go around these with my knife and have a fine black frame there. Obviously you've seen me before cut borders off, we're using that. So there's still plenty more you could get out of that if you wanted to, if you've got the little books or something that ties in the same theme. Obviously this card, I will give that a trim afterwards. Hopefully that should go okay. normally it does. So I'll put pictures up on Pinterest, Facebook. I do have a page on Facebook, Sybil Jones Concoctions. It's all the same, even on Pinterest, Sybil Jones Concoctions. And I'll put some sort of close-up pictures on there for you if you want to take a look. Next time, I'm toying with the idea of coming back with rainbow flowers. I have got this other one in the kit, the Beautiful Dreams topper set. But I'm wondering whether to do some flowers and then maybe come back to that one, or go to Christmas and then come back to that one. So we'll see how it goes. I do want to do some Penguin Party because I did find that. So I am quite keen to do that. But I think I might come back. I'm almost convinced I'm going to come back with rainbow flowers, but watch this space. You'll have to come back and see on my next video whether that's what I actually choose to do or not. If you want any of the links to anything that I've used, please just do ask. I did put up the link to the Hunky Dory borders that are similar to this, and it's not expensive either. I think it was only something like £12 or £13. Don't quote me because I'm just like going off the top of my head. And you get 5 in that kit, 5 or 6, and they're different ones. I think there's flowers, butterflies, stars, balloons maybe as well. So it's a really, really good price for that type of die. If I'd have seen them at Hunky Dory's before I saw them at Crafter's Companion, I would have bought Hunky Dory's, to be honest with you. Better value for money, I think, because the Crafter's Companion did all of theirs separately, although they are very different. They're the same but different. I don't know how to describe it besides that. They're the same but different. I like the ones I've got from Crafter's Companion, and I'm not complaining because I do use them, and they're handy for these little butterflies, little balloons, things like that. So I can't moan. They are worth the money to me, what I've spent on them. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I do appreciate your taking the time to watch. I will be back next time. It should be, what day we're on today? We're on Saturday, so it should be Monday. And my videos usually go up between midnight and 1 on that day. Well, technically it's the following day, but it does take that long for me to edit them, watch them, and just make sure they are okay, which is what I try to do more of now. If you do need anything, any questions, any queries, obviously just drop me a note on the comments. I'll always get back to you. Maybe not straight away, depends on what I'm up to, but obviously I do get back to you. I answer every comment at the moment anyway. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Take care. Enjoy your crafting. Bye.